Your favorite artist is just like you, a thief. And the better their art is, the more likely it is that they steal. Most artists learn this the hard way. They spend years chasing originality and end up creating the most boring, lifeless work of their careers. The truth is, all great art is built on theft. Not the kind that gets you caught, but the kind that makes your art feel real. I know that sounds wrong. Like, how does stolen art make you unique? It's a paradox. We've been told that original art comes from some pure place inside the artist's soul, but it doesn't work that way. Your brain is stealing everything you see, hear, and feel, then remixing it into something new. And if we can explore this part of the creative process honestly, we'll create art that feels like magic. There was a time when a whole generation of artists became history's greatest thieves. It was in Florence, around the year 1400. They called it the Renaissance, and you've probably heard about it, but here's what they don't tell you. The artist behind this famous statue, he spent hours measuring Roman sculptures, calculating their proportions, then used those exact ratios to create his own work. Brunelleschi, the founding father of Renaissance architecture, got his ideas from the Romans too. Even Michelangelo looked at Greek statues and thought, I can make this better. They were smart. They took ancient techniques, composition rules, even specific poses that stood the test of time and transformed them into something the world had never seen. If you went to art school, your professors probably told you that originality means having no influences. To start from a place of pure curiosity, to not know anything and just jump in. But here are what they regard as history's greatest artists openly stealing to create their masterpieces. After seeing this, I realized I've been fighting the wrong battle in my own work, trying to stay true to my style or my story when really even that is shaped by what I've seen, read, studied, and absorbed. Even ideas that change your life quietly become part of your own thought process. Eventually, the original source is forgotten, but that's the point. Your vision will always work its way into the art, and over time, the things you steal just become principles that guide your creativity. Think about jazz. Early musicians took blues chord progressions and ragtime rhythms, smashed them together in smoky clubs, then rock musicians came along and stole from jazz. They stripped it down, electrified it, and found a whole new audience. Great art takes something that already exists and creates something completely different. It's like an evolution tree. Each branch is theft that became innovation, recombining what already exists in ways nobody's tried before. Pick any master from any field, study their influences for 30 minutes, and you'll see that they were thieves too. Because the artists we celebrate aren't the ones who avoided influence. You can't create everything yourself or you'll burn out your muse for good. The artists we remember are the ones who stole most beautifully. But why do people love stolen art? I discovered the answer when I started paying attention to my own creative process. That color palette I thought I invented, it was from a photo I took 2 years earlier. That rhythm in my writing, it matched the cadence of a podcast I completely forgot I listened to. From the moment you're born, you're recording everything. Every image, every sound, and pattern gets filed away. Think of your last creative breakthrough. I guarantee you can trace it back to at least 3 different influences, colliding in the background of your mind. Because your brain is constantly doing pattern recognition, it's looking for connections, finding metaphors, making analogies, seeing links that other artists miss. Most of the time, you're not even aware it's happening. Your brain is remixing your environment without asking for permission. And that's why it's so important to constantly reinvent your surroundings. What you see or who you listen to, it will keep your work fresh and keeps you evolving. Sometimes we even do this on purpose. We study something we love and figure out why it works. We steal consciously, but we always transform what we take. Both types of theft are necessary. The unconscious stuff gives you raw material, but the conscious stuff lets you make better creative decisions. So if stealing is natural, why do so many artists resist it? Because we've been told that originality means having no influences. I believed this lie for a while, and I couldn't create because of it. I tried to come up with my own ideas from just my mind, and nothing happened. I forgot that I get inspired from outside influences. Without them, I have nothing to work off of, and my ideas fall flat. The best art is part of a larger conversation. It is rejecting the status quo. It is an artist sharing their perspective on something that's happening in the world. And once we close ourselves off, we destroy the charm our art has naturally. Being completely original is much harder than we think. Van Gogh sold 1 painting in his lifetime. Stravinsky's music caused riots. They were 100% ahead of their time time instead of just 10% ahead. And that's the problem with fighting your brain's natural social instinct. To be ahead means you reject reality, you isolate, and you fight an uphill battle. Your art becomes too alien for people to understand because people need familiar elements to connect with art. When it doesn't find them, it feels confused. But when you give people something that's 90% familiar and just 10% surprising, the magic happens. The Beatles mastered this formula. They took familiar rock structures but added backwards recordings, Indian sitars, and orchestral arrangements. It's familiar enough to sing along, but strange enough to feel revolutionary. So how do you steal without just copying? First, know that bad theft copies the surface level ideas a piece presents, like stealing the characters of a show blatantly or stealing the story itself. Whereas good theft transforms the hidden ideas and meaning behind something, taking the subtext of a show, the hidden message, and transforming it into a completely new story. Every piece of art has 3 layers you can steal: the structure's form and flow, the emotion it evokes, and the technique or surface details. Most people just copy technique, brush strokes, word choice, production style, but the best artists steal the structure or emotion and rebuild everything else. Think about West Side Story. It took the emotional skeleton of Romeo and Juliet, its ideas of forbidden love, family conflict, and tragedy, and reimagined it in 1950s New York. Swords became switchblades. The balcony became a fire escape. It's the same feeling in a completely new world, and people loved it. Even think of sampling in music. Thousands of songs use the same 6-second amen break, but each flips it differently. It's the same source, but it gets spun into infinitely new ideas. Copying is shallow, but transforming shows a nuanced understanding of what's being presented. Not just in the art, but it shows the artist's understanding of themselves and the world. So now you know how to steal, but how do you do it well? Don't just steal from one place. Combine your sources and interests. Blend different influences like jazz and sculpture, or mythology with pop culture. Like a good sauce, layers make it richer, and are usually the difference between good art and timeless art. Build a personal theft library. Keep a folder of images, sounds, books, or scenes that hit you. Revisit it and update it often. After a while, you'll start to see your taste, your aesthetic DNA emerge. Steal the how and not the what. Look at the artist's process, watch their interviews, and behind the scenes. Ask yourself how they generate their ideas or make decisions. How do they structure their work? Processing theft gives you tools, not just the polish. And of course, don't forget to give credit. Don't be afraid to wear your influences on your sleeve, because that gives your work a unique, lovable energy that won't be forgotten. Maybe the most creative thing you can do is admit you're a thief. It took me a while to accept this. I used to try and ignore my influences, pretending like I was the sole creator behind my work. But when I finally started to go out of my way to find inspiration, my work got better and faster. I stopped ignoring inspiration and instead focused on making that inspiration my own. Because here's the truth, every artist is working with the same raw materials, the same colors, ideas, and emotions. But what makes art original is the combination, the unique way the artist takes these sources and blends them with their own personality and vision.